Notice, do not give up on your legal status. Many people fail to respond to RFE or file an application before the deadline. This is why we offer a strategy session for 15 minutes at no cost to you. Not everyone qualifies. First, you need to speak with our CARES team. We receive many requests, so we recommend you answer a few questions on our website, greencardguys.com. Our mission is to help people live and work in America legally. Go ahead and subscribe below and follow and share. Talk to you soon. What's going on? If you have a case or you are considering to file for your ability to come into America and what we call L visa, whether as a manager or an executive, and it actually can be of your own company. It doesn't have to be of you work for someone else. All right, you can have your own company outside America and try to get sponsored by your own company in America. But you have to consider yourself as an executive or a manager, if that's the case. Folks, welcome to Green Card Guys TV. I'm your host, John Ting. I practice immigration law in all 50 states of America and across the world, helping you solve your immigration problem and maybe preventing the problem from happening in the first place. Okay, folks, thank you so much for joining live. I do answer questions down below. If you want to drop some questions at the comment box or the chat box, and I'll absolutely try my best to answer them. Please know that some days I answer only maybe like 10 to 15 questions. Sometimes I go a little overboard because I like to share some insights, give you some real-time context of what's going on with U.S. immigration. Let's see here. Also, this is a good time to mention to you that we do offer a strategy session consultation for 15 minutes, no cost to you. Some folks, you may have a lawyer ready, not trying to step on anyone's toes, but especially if you haven't heard back from a lawyer and you contacted your lawyer, law firm, and they haven't called you back. And I'm not saying like, oh, you just called yesterday. Sometimes like people tell us that they haven't heard from the lawyer, got a response back in like a month. And I'm thinking, man, that's way too long. That's crazy. But if you maybe just not necessarily let you try and change lawyers, but just want to get like a little bit understanding of context of the situation. I don't know. It's kind of strange. Some lawyers don't understand how things flow with USCIS or State Department. Maybe we understand it better because we sue the government and to get visas, decisions, to get it moving forward so that you can have legal status. All right, folks. So, so about L visa. So maybe you've been working out. The reason sometimes I like to share strategies because I'm really trying to help you prevent having to enter America illegally without a visa, or maybe so that you don't overstay your visa in America because you may actually be eligible for something to begin with, right? Before you do certain things like that. And because I hear a lot of stories like, man, John, I just haven't found the right match, to get married to a U.S. citizen. I wish I had known this beforehand, before I had done this, before I had overstayed, or before I even entered America through Mexico or something illegally. So this is an example. L1 visa is, whether you have your own company or you work for a company, and maybe you're an executive or a manager. So executive, we think about in terms of like you make strategic decisions essentially for the company in a certain role. Like it's not just CEO, chief executive officer. It could be more in operations. It could be in the finances. And then the other thing is, as a manager, right? If you're a manager, you have people that report to you. You have to check in with them. You have regular meetings, maybe on a daily basis. There's also something called specialized knowledge. So maybe consider like engineer, someone who's not necessarily a manager, but some specialized knowledge. It is pretty broad, but engineer is something I just use an example. So that one of the key things at the very minimum, regardless of which position, is that you have had to work for that company for at least 1 year in the last 3 years. So even if you're outside America right now, you don't actually have to work for them right now, but at least within the last 3 years, you have 1 year total of working for that company. Okay, so if you have some kind of documentation to show that you've been working for them, that's great. Some people like, give us documentation. It looks like you just made it up on a Word document. So it does need to look official. All right. And obviously telling the truth. But it tends to be that way when it's someone who owns their own company because they wear a lot of hats. I wear a lot of hats. I understand, but you really do need to get all your documentation correct. Which, of course, we have a proven checklist that can help you. We don't just dump the checklist on you and go. Okay, we do follow up with you. At least we try our best to do once a week, guide you through that checklist. Because sometimes clients don't have everything on that checklist. So we have to help you work together to think outside the box. All right. So that kind of give you an idea how we do things for our clients. But you can't just come in here. I really recommend not just coming in here and like, let's say a visitor visa, and then you're like, okay, can I change status to L visa? Yes, you can. It's possible. Not saying you can't do it, but at least contact a lawyer beforehand, have a consultation. So because ideally, when you enter into the airport, yes, many people get the 6 month stamp for 6 months on the I-94 online, but not everyone gets 6 months. You customs can randomly give you like 10 days or 1 month. So it would be really bad to have an expectation that you're like, okay, I've got to get 6 months time to find a lawyer, file the documents, things like that. Like sometimes you need to plan ahead so you have some evidence before you even leave your country. So a lot of strategy to share with you. Okay, a lot of it I just not able to share completely right here right now, but want to give you an idea why it is better to talk with a law firm beforehand. Okay, but there are options, especially if you're an entrepreneur, um, starting your own business. Uh, because some people that call us, they contact the strategy session is not so much that they want to file now, but they want to file a year from now so they can get set up, how to have the best success in their future application. All right. So that covers it for this topic. Let me see if you have any questions. I think I saw some questions here or statements. I saw one that was, I can, I can attest to. By the way, if you enjoy the way we share information, legal information, give us a follow right here on TikTok. I think it's like all the way up here. On YouTube, it's down here. Rich Baquet, do we work with all countries? That's the one I saw earlier. Yeah, that's right. Thanks, Maria. The embassy has been annoying with your mom's green card. Yes, we do. We do help with really for any embassy or post clients that live all anywhere in the world, anywhere in the United States, and we definitely agree with you. The embassies and consulates are freaking annoying. It's ridiculous. So here's the thing. You have to understand, and this is what I share on the live shows pretty much every day, is to understand the different stages of a case. Because some people might think, oh, well, I just got documentarily qualified last week or last month. That's too soon for an interview. It doesn't usually work that way to have an interview like in within 2 months time or something. It usually is takes average 6 months after the being DQ'd, documentary qualified. Which, if you haven't come across this yet, this is for people who have a case abroad outside the United States, and they have a family member that's sponsored and DQ'd. Yeah, that would come through. That notification would come through as an email. And it's I mentioned Domino's Pizza as like a pizza tracker. I'm not sponsored by them, but I wish USCIS had that, or State Department, because sometimes when you get that email, you're thinking, oh, my next step should be like a month from now, right? They don't do it as accurate or at all, not like Domino's Pizza, because the pizza tracker is pretty accurate. All right, so that's interesting, right? You can get your pizza real-time updates on your pizza, but not your case. It's frustrating for sure. Let's see here. Okay, CKD on TikTok. You came back with AP and expires in January. Can they still travel together while getting your AO? I thought you did you get approved, or maybe I was thinking of someone else. I guess you haven't filed yet. Um, oh, you did file already. So I don't know what you mean while getting your AOS together. Is it still pending? Is that what you mean? Or maybe you have AP through like TPS or something. Um, I mean, no, you can't. Well, it depends when you're trying to travel, because you asked, can you still travel while you're getting AOS? I mean, really, ultimately, it depends on your AP when it expires. Okay, folks. So if your AP expires, let's say like this person on TikTok, okay, you got approved for AP for DACA. Okay, yeah. So even if you file for AOS 6 months from now or next week, I mean, your AP through DACA is irrelevant to that future application for AOS. So just focus on the when it expires. Okay. And by the way, when y'all travel abroad with AP Advanced Parole, I highly recommend you make a scanned copy of the card itself and also the official notice. Now, I've had clients forget to take the official notice on their flight, and they've actually had those agents at the gate agents, stop them and say, "Where's your official notice? A courtesy copy is not enough." So that's why for us these days, from the last 5 years or so, we just automatically have USCIS just mail the official notice to the clients to save some time, because some people need to travel ASAP. Otherwise, it's going to take a couple more days for us to mail it to clients. So yeah, absolutely make a scan copy, because you never know. You take the official notice and you lose it somehow, or somehow you lose the card. Knock on wood for all of y'all, but just to save some time. All right. So, Mariella, is it suspicious to get divorced after 5 years married, but only 5 months with a green card? No, because I mean that's in general, at least for your situation, you've been married. You were married for quite a while. Congratulations on that, 5 years. Um, but there's no black and white rule that you have to stay married for X months or years after you get the green card. So, and then because you did get married, you have been married for 5 years, you probably have the 10-year resident status, resident card. So that's great to know. And that way you can feel more comfortable. You don't have to file a future application to remove those conditions, thankfully. So the kicker there is if you would receive the 2-year conditional residence status if by the time you finally have the interview or decision, if you're still married for less than 2 years. But yeah, ultimately, many people don't want to wait longer. So if you have the 2 years, don't want to wait longer to file your first application for residency. Yeah, sorry to hear that, Mariela. Yeah, well, I'm glad you found out for sure. Um, so now you got to take action for yourself. Please know that if someone doesn't have to have remove the conditions, and you got divorced, you can become a citizen after having 5 years of resident status. Okay, and you can actually file up to 3 months before that 5 year period. So what is that? 4 years and 9 months of having resident status, you can file to become a U.S. citizen. All right, so hopefully it helps you out. Okay, how long does it take for a case to be withdrawn from court for deportation removal proceedings? Case changed. Well, I'm not sure what you mean by case changed, but in general, when you or your attorney file a motion to the court, there's no, I like to say this phrase a lot, there's no like strict timing on when a judge needs to make a decision on your motion. Um, so maybe that's what you mean by that comment or question. How long does it take for a case to be withdrawn from court? Maybe you mean like maybe a motion to dismiss from court, so you don't have to show up in the future. Um, we've seen, I mean, on average, if I had to put a timing on that, seems like about a month on average. But that's where your lawyer or law firm could come in place, because our team contacts the court like every couple of weeks just to check up on it. Which you could do the same if you represent yourself. At the very least, to make sure that they received it, which hot tip, if you mail it yourself, it's really better to do it in person to drop it off if you're nearby. I know like some of y'all have moved, but your court case is in a like hundreds of miles away. Then of course mail it with FedEx. They much prefer FedEx, and you have tracking as well. All right. So had you you are one of the best attorneys ever. Well, I appreciate that. You had me before for one of the cases. Oh, okay. Well, happy to help. Happy that we were able to help you successfully. I can't tell who you are based on the looks like your pictures with your family. So, and I can't tell your name, your profile name on TikTok, who you are, but happy that we were able to help you out. And thanks for tuning in. Really appreciate it. Um, which, by the way, if you haven't done so already, if you don't mind going to reviewtinglaw.com, and if you work with any specific team member on our team, please mention their name. They would really appreciate it as our leadership does provide bonuses to each team member. All right, so let's see here. Okay, F2A updated to immediate relative 1 IR1. You've been in line for interview for a year. Any update you think? So you have to make sure when it's anytime a family preference, you have to check chart A. Okay, chart A, not chart B, because chart B is more so to notify you when to start uploading documents to be documentary qualified. However, for the actual interview to be scheduled, I believe that's what you're waiting for, then your priority date has to show up on the chart A. Okay, so if you're wondering, like, what the hell is John talking about? Chart A, B, this is referred to in general, the visa bulletin that is produced by the Department of State every month, which unfortunately is not like the first of the month. Okay, it's a bit confusing when they do that, but they do publish a new chart every month. Do we help with VAWA? If yes, how much? Absolutely. We do assist with those who have been victims of abuse, whether it's physical abuse, emotional, it could be financial abuse. There's a whole slew of things that is not stated black and white in the law, but let's talk about it. Let's see if you could qualify for it. In terms of how much, uh, I've tried to share fees on TikTok before, and I was told, well, not told, I'm just making a pretty good assumption that I shouldn't do that because I was banned on TikTok. But in terms of fees, I can share with you, we do offer 3 service plans: Light, Pro, Max. It's not meant to confuse anyone. It's actually to be clear as possible. All right, clear as possible and transparent on our services and what's included, because ultimately we understand, like, for example, not everyone wants an attorney at the interview if it requires one, right? If you want us in person, it's going to cost more money. uh, Not everyone wants certain services in general. So, and some people have, depends on their budget, so we try to be flexible and transparent at the same time, and a lot of people have appreciated that. So you'll take a look whenever you call us. Okay. Thank you so much for your questions. We greatly appreciate your trust. That means a lot to us. Oh, wow. There's a lot of questions. Thank you. Let me pin this comment. If you call the hotline, will your case be delayed even more? That's what you were told. No, that would be discrimination. However, I wouldn't suggest being one of those people that you cause yourself more anxiety, more stress by trying to call USCIS every week. To not saying that you would do that, but really check. I would check the ultimately at the end of the day. I know a lot of y'all call the hotline. I honestly think most of the time it's a waste of time, because you have to understand their tier 1 customer service. There is a second tier where it needs to reach that situation. But also, the first thing I would do, I suggest in terms of checking your case status, is check online. And then at the very bottom, you'll see that you can enter your receipt date when you essentially whenever the USCIS receive your application, and then it will let you know if you can submit an inquiry. So typically, as you probably heard me talk about for a while now, USCIS has extended the processing times pretty much on purpose so that they can prevent you from submitting an inquiry or even calling in because I do get a flood of calls, right? And most of the time, tier one would just say, "Okay, I'll check on it," but really, they're not going to do much. We've actually had a client before they were one of our clients. They updated. They thought they were updating tier one customer service on the phone call, saying, "Oh, I just let you know we're not going to make it to the interview because we're still waiting on a medical exam." You would think, yeah, if you're calling company, that person you spoke with would update the file, right? That is not how it works with USCIS. So please know that. Okay. Make good use of your time and try not to cause yourself too much anxiety. Where are we located? How much for consultation? So we are located in Houston, Texas. You're welcome to hang out. Just had lunch with our team. A lot of great food in Houston. Even if you live we've had even clients come from different cities come visit us. We greatly appreciate that. But you don't have to visit. We do a lot of things remotely. Okay, we have Dialpad as our like video conference. It's very similar to Zoom. In terms of cost of consultation, strategy session, we actually offer it at no cost to you. Okay, no cost for 15 minutes. And you might wonder, is 15 minutes enough? Actually, I think it's sufficient. At least for us, we're able to share the game plan or reasons why you're not eligible within that time period. And that's because our CARES team member, they'll collect some information beforehand on your immigration history. So we both save some time on that. But otherwise, if you want more time, like 30 minutes to an hour, we do charge that. So the fees are on our website, greencardguys.com. Can you file for petition and adjustment at the same time? Yes, but you please know this. It's not everyone can do that. You can file it together at the same time. Lawyers call that concurrent filing, okay? The default rule is that you have had to enter the United States with a visa. Yes, it's okay if you overstayed if it's immediate relative category. So there's a lot of moving parts here. Now, there are some scenarios where if you enter America without a visa, you could still file the adjustment status with the petition. So the most common examples are if it's when you say I-130 as well right now, um, what's it called? If you're eligible for 245I, where you had a prior petition or labor certification filed on your behalf before April 30th, 2001. That's one of the more common ones where there's an old law signed by President Bill Clinton, actually, and it basically grandfathered an old law to say, okay, there's a cutoff time where you don't have to leave the United States to get residency, but you have to show proof of that petition notice. It doesn't have to be the approval notice, and actually doesn't actually have to be approved. The law states that it just has to be approvable. Okay, so there's other exceptions, scenarios where you don't have to show legal entry, but that would be scenarios where it's not really you wouldn't have a petition on file. It's actually be like U visa, T visa for trafficking. Which, by the way, folks, most people think trafficking visa is only like sex trafficking or smuggling. It also includes people who are not paid their wages. I know that might not think that likely did not cross your mind, but that actually does include that situation. People have not been paid their wages. All right, you haven't had a response from your 290B filing since October 2020. Yikes. Okay. So they take a long time. You know that your situation is not uncommon. It actually is common that they take a hell of a long time on the 290B. If you're wondering, well, how can I check what the normal average processing time is for this? You can't. I mean, you could try. I've tried it. It's just not online on the USCIS.gov website. It's not there. It's not listed. 290B is not listed as a one of the drop down menu options. And I really think it's because they don't care enough to get it done, processed, reviewed sooner. So, with that being said, since you've been waiting, I think it's to 2020, what 3 years, you really want to consider if you are eligible. Let's say it's like a marriage case, it's better to refile your case. Okay, it's really better to do that. When a dad becomes a citizen, do kids have to be first permanent resident, or do they become citizens? So, when you, if you mean that it can be looked at in a couple different ways. Typically, what we've had situation is that let's say the dad is a citizen at some point, became a citizen, and the kid is not in the U.S. Um, well, actually, even if they are in the U.S., you apply for the residency first. It's it's not like straight automatic to becoming a citizen. And but unless the because the way I read your question is that there's a lot of moving parts, of course, a lot of moving facts. Is that your kid is already born? If your kid is already born, and then you go through the process of becoming a citizen, yes, it's not automatic in that sense. I know it's weird, but if your kid is already born, then you have to apply for residency for your kid first, and then after your kid has proof of residency, then yes, generally now these days the way the law works is that okay, now it's automatic citizenship, but then you have to apply for another form. You see that there? Recurring theme, USCIS wants you to keep paying fees. That's how you actually fund them with your application fees, not Congress. How long does VAWA green card processing take? It depends, but in general, it depends on the status of your abuser. Was a U.S. citizen or a green card holder? Because if a green card holder, then you have to rely on F2A visa bulletin. But in general, Vermont Service Center, okay, they were the service center that was handling these cases, and they transferred it to Nebraska Service Center. And then we had a case that was like transferred back to Vermont Service Center like less than 2 months after that. So it's like the government doesn't know how to manage their caseload or something because that's pretty quick to transfer it back and forth. Um, so what I'm trying to say is that they're hella slow. Okay, it's gonna take at least 12 months minimum. They don't have any kind of expedite process for VAWA unfortunately. Okay, cool. Hey Annie, you're in Houston. Small world. We tried to tag Houston on our videos, but that's cool. forever, forever great faithful. You are in Florida. Okay. Well, it's okay. We have a lot of clients in Florida. Um, I try to go there every once in a while for Disney World. Hopefully not too often, but it is expensive. Let's see here. Thank you so much for your questions. I really appreciate it. Sorry, I untagged someone on accident. Um, are hardship waivers difficult to get approved? For us, no. We have 99.9% success approvals, knock on wood. But that person, I believe it's because we have a proven checklist. We have a team that guides you appropriately through it, including me. We help you out. We don't just say, hey, write a letter and we won't review it. We definitely review it, but we don't write the letter for you because you have to tell the truth of your own case, your own life story. We don't know your life. So what we do after that is we help organize it, number one, or actually before that is to ask follow-up questions because we have knowledge on what it takes, what information that USCIS officers are typically looking at. But we've had just kind of give you an idea why you probably, if you have a waiver type situation or situation where you need to file a waiver, you definitely need to hire a lawyer. I really recommend it. Not saying you can't do it on your own. I know there's like groups that help each other out or something, but ultimately the waivers take a long time to process. So even if you think you're a great writer, which is a great starting point, many of our clients are not great storytellers, so that's what we also help with. But the cases now, 601A takes, last time I checked, 44 months processing time. Before the pandemic, 8 months. So you just can't afford to lose 3 to 4 years, and then you get a denial letter, and you could have done a better job, right? Again, not saying you can't do it, but if you want the best chance of success, you do want to contact an attorney, immigration attorney that can help you with that. If you don't have an I-94, but just an alien number because you did cross the border, are you still able to get married? Okay, so what you're getting at is about legal entry, right? Um, Depends when you entered the United States. Was it a long time ago? Because um, I-94s are now online for the past, I think, 5 years minimum, are online. If you type in CBP I-94, that website .gov should show up, and you can check there. Um, let's see what else. But otherwise, it also depends what country you're from. Because if you're from people from Mexico, Mexican nationals, they have, some people may have like a border crossing card. But I also wonder if you have an alien number, then how did you get the alien number? Because that could be helpful. Maybe we can do a FOIA, Freedom of Information Act, to see where that A number came from. Because let's say if you were just visiting only, people who just visit don't get A numbers. Doesn't work that way. Okay, you usually get, okay, you're from Haiti. Okay, so no no boarding crossing card, but yeah, let's check on that. That's interesting. Maybe you, oh, did you file for TPS? Maybe you got TPS, and that's why you have the A number. All right, let's see here. Okay, yeah, okay. Okay, so in that regard, since you say you're from Haiti, TPS, there's a case law from the Supreme Court, I believe, that mentioned if you have TPS and you traveled with AP, advanced parole, that is considered legal entry. So even though you entered maybe originally without a visa, traveling on AP, advanced parole, okay, you got to get proof of it. You re-enter America, leave and then re-enter. Even if you leave for like a day, or you go on vacation, you come back, that would be considered admission. Okay. There was some talk that saying like if you have TPS in general, even if you did not apply for advanced parole, that could constitute admission. But I think that really depends on the region of the country. The way it works in America is what we call circuit courts. So I know it's weird. If something applies in like California or New York or Iowa, could be different like in Texas. It's ridiculous. I, I think the prior question I just saw was, do people qualify for H-1B if they work for a university? Yes, it's actually, you typically for universities, you qualify for CAP exempt, meaning you don't have to wait for the March registration uh, to to start the process. You can file any time of the year, or your employer, I guess, the university. Yeah, we have several clients like that as well. So that worked out. Which, by the way, bless their hearts, I know that people, the attorneys that work or human resources that work for these schools, they're busy. They're typically not focused on immigration. They do a lot more employment law, but some could be tasked with helping facilitate the immigration paperwork. And I can tell you that the one I work with at a particular university in Texas, the applicant, the foreign national applicant, was waiting too long for no reason. They were waiting for a certain step, and that step was not required. So I think they wasted, like, if I recall, about 4 months' time. So that's why it's helpful for, and I think that client actually found us on social media. So don't worry if you, even if you don't think you have a question or a problem right now, but you think there could be a problem, or delay on your case, when it's related to delays, to me, that's a problem, right? So don't be shy. Give us a call. So this is a good time to mention. Um, we're up here on YouTube. Phone number right here. You can give us a call. We offer strategy session for 15 minutes, no cost to you. Okay, no cost to you for 15 minutes. Not everyone is qualified. I really do appreciate your inquiries, but not everyone is qualified because we get a lot of inquiries. So we understand your time is precious. So we try to quickly as possible go through it. Our team members meet up, have meetings every day to see if we can help you. Um, Now, if it's a situation where helping in a sense, like maybe answering a couple questions, we're happy to do that. But we want to be straight up with you and say, we don't think you're eligible, but maybe you have we can ask you some follow-up questions, or we'll just email you a free guide. Okay. So hopefully that gives you an idea. I hope I don't give you the misunderstanding that absolutely like everyone gets a consultation. It just depends on the scenario. Okay. But I'll be happy to learn more about it, about your situation. Um, okay. Abraham applied for asylum. Are you the same person who messaged on TikTok? Appreciate the rose, Jennifer. Thank you so much. So kind. I get more roses here than from my spouse. Just kidding. I don't expect roses. Um, I'm the one that's supposed to give roses. You got married. Okay, Abraham. You apply for asylum. You have a combo card. Can you travel elsewhere, not to your home country? Yeah, you can. You're not legal per se yet in terms of legal status. Um, but you have the combo card. Now, just keep in mind if you have some kind of criminal history, arrest, plea bargain, conviction, then you will definitely want to, I suggest talking to an immigration lawyer because some people forget that even people who have green cards, resident status, they travel out for vacation, whatever. They come back and then, like a crime from 10 years ago, 20 years ago, even though probation was complete, they run into problems. Okay. They get referred to immigration court. So just keep that in mind. All right. On to back to TikTok. Oh, cool. Jennifer got the #1 gifter badge. Congrats on that. Chanty. Oh, shoot. Sorry, Maria. I missed the pin comment. Oh, Renee with the rose. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. All right, Chanty, how long after someone gets divorced can they remarry? So, if you're asking about immigration context, I've actually had a client that there's no black and white number, just to be straight up, but I've actually had a client that they were separated with the first spouse for it seemed like if I can recall, several months, but the divorce happened, let's say like June 1st, but they wanted to get married like within 30 days. At first, I was like, ooh, that's a little sticky. But if the USCIS officer asked and it came down to the question, why'd you get married so soon? It's like, well, actually, I've been separated. And you can see here as proof that I have a new lease with my current spouse. And that started like several months before. Right. So that's why it's important to get some documentation if you have a situation like that. But in terms of the state, each state in America does have certain rules on when you can get remarried. So in Texas, at least, since I'm here in Texas, licensed in the state of Texas, you can it's 30 days. However, your divorce attorney in Texas can request a waiver of those 30 days. And that's what we call the cooling off period. I think if I can understand the Texas legislature or any state probably has something like that because, maybe if there's like a motion to reopen the divorce case and anything having to do with assets, I think those are the main reasons. Can you get a view visa even with an illegal entry? Yes. As far as yes, we've had clients like that. And so that's why when you apply for U visa, you also apply for another form. You apply for basically one I-192 is a waiver for any prior inadmissibilities, including that. Okay, that's absolutely important. When you file for U visa, you have to file that waiver form. If you forget about it, that's a big problem. So gotta do that ASAP. Oh, a heart. Okay, that's something new. I haven't seen that before. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Yeah. Have y'all seen those TikToks where people like wear a cowboy hat? I don't. I thought that's strange. Like whatever you gift them, they like act it out. I think that's interesting. To each their own. Uh, let's see here. Okay, this is a great time for me to mention. If you saw my video from last night, we filed a lawsuit and we plan to file more lawsuits to help people, U.S. citizens of Palestinian descent, to get evacuated. Now, of course, our belief is that every U.S. citizen should get pulled out to get assisted out of Gaza. Okay, all U.S. citizens need to get out of Gaza. All right. So, we don't condone any violence or promote any of it, but we do want to help where we can. So, we're working with other attorneys across the United States to get people evacuated. But the best thing is media, okay? Because I think the US government is very slow to do something or anything because the media is not talking about it, right? Just follow the trend of media. So I can only do so much on YouTube and TikTok. So please, folks, if you know anyone who works in media industry and maybe that person knows someone else, we greatly appreciate your connections on that. So please send us a DM or send us a text. We really, really appreciate it because more people, the news about this situation needs to get out. And unfortunately, just the talks of like no electricity, no food, the supply for that is being stopped. That's not enough for the public to know to put pressure on the US government to take action to help people out. All right. So really, really appreciate your help. I'm also on LinkedIn. I posted this on LinkedIn. So you could tag me there on that or send me a DM there. Okay. I know your time is precious and I greatly appreciate it. I coughed so hard, paper flew off the table. Adjustment status by marriage. Do you know the waiting time? You have DACA and you got AP. Okay, great. You got AP. Did you actually travel on that? Because you got to, actually use it in that sense, um, so that you can show proof of that stamp. But average after that is average 3 to 5 months, as long as your sponsor is a U.S. citizen. Now, if it takes a little longer, that's okay. If you get an RFE later, if you don't have the chance to submit or mail in your medical sealed envelope of medical exam with the original package, and then later you get a RFE saying mail in your medical exam, that is a strong indication that your interview will be waived. So just kind of give you an idea. However, I have heard of people, a lot of people on who've commented on our show that after they mailed back the medical exam, it's taken USCIS several months to get back to them. So that's why I recommend before you file file your case in general, provide the medical exam in the sealed envelope. Very, very important. Save you some time. Okay, I may have missed a comment there. Sorry about that earlier. The notice, however, you did not indicate in the petition whether the beneficiary intends to apply. Intends to apply. Yeah, I think Sanjay, I didn't see your prior comment. Maybe I skipped down too far down. Um, but yeah, that if you only filed, okay, I see your prior comment now. I-130 just got approved for your parents. What should you do next? And this notice received from US. Oops, excuse me. You're okay. So you got the approval notice. Yeah, because on the petition, I can't remember exactly what page, but I think towards the middle on the right side, the right column. It's weird. I remember the stuff. The right column asks, where do you intend? Like basically, you get to choose adjustment of status or consular processing. Ultimately, it depends where your parents are now. So, Sanjay, I don't know if you're a U.S. citizen, but if you are, and they're here in the United States, then that can waive any unlawful presence of overstaying visa. So that means you can file a 485. So basically, it sounds like because what happens after approval notice, USCIS needs to know where to send the case file. So it sounds like they don't know to send it to National Visa Center for consular processing abroad outside America or keep it here in the States. All right. So maybe this situation that you need to give us a call. um, do we work with clients in Chicago? Absolutely. We're happy to work with any clients that live anywhere in America or anywhere outside of America. We do try to make it as easy as possible for y'all. So, in addition to using Dialpad as our video conference, we also use Dropbox to share documents, folders, checklists, things of that nature. And that's where you can also scan. So, Dropbox app actually has a scan option in addition to picture. We just don't recommend using the picture option because the lighting and scan like gets like the four corners of the document very easily. I don't know why it does that, but it's pretty impressive technology. So we try to make it as easy as possible for y'all to be able to work together, even when we live hundreds or thousands of miles away. Thank you so much for the question. Thank you so much for all your trust and allowing us the opportunity to answer your questions. It really means a lot. So if I was able to, I may not have been able to answer your question at all or not as in depth, please, you're welcome to give us a call right up here if you're on YouTube. If you're on TikTok, you're welcome to DM us, ask for the website or phone number, and our team member will share it with you. Or like in Lisa asked right here, where do you book the consultation with us? Thank you so much for the question. You can go to our website, greencardguys.com. All right. Am I able to type this in somewhere? Maria, if you're on, I don't know if Maria's on right now, but it doesn't look like I'm able to actually type it in. Greencardguys.com. So I try to make it as easy as possible for y'all, and we greatly appreciate it. We know your time is precious. Thank you so much. I feel like I did miss someone else. Jennifer, did I answer your question? Okay, there you go. There you go. I think I found your first one. Okay, you're the USC. Hub is from NL. Okay, is that Netherlands or is that Nuevo Leon? Got married on day 89 of tourist visa in 2018. Applied for the usual things. You got denied. I think you had another. Your EAD and your spouse's EAD and advanced pro were approved. What steps do we start on when refiling? Oh, 2018? Did you just get denied? That's a hell of a long time, especially for you as a U.S. citizen. Okay, I found your last comment. I think that's your last comment. Yeah, let's chat about that, okay, Jennifer, especially with all the roses you shared in the heart. I really appreciate it. But let's chat about it. I can't promise that it'll be with me. It could be default is the consultation or default with our premier associates. But in general, there's no concern for us on when to refile it. We always just want to make sure, like, whatever reason you were denied, is there a way we can avoid that situation and provide more proof or just argue on paper first that your spouse is eligible? Okay. So hopefully that helps out. That's just to share how we think about the evaluating cases. Basically, we have a lot of people that call in. As you can imagine, we call ourselves we are the immigration problem solvers. So we do get a lot of inquiries from people who were unfortunately denied before, or their cases delayed for number of months and years. Okay, thank you. Maria has put in her comment. Our website, greencardguys.com. That is our website, our main website. Check it out. There's a contact page. The button is on the top right, and you can click there and answer a couple questions, and one of our team members will give you a call. Otherwise, we can call it. You can just give us a call directly. Up to you. Whatever's easier for you. Thanks, Maria. You're welcome, Jennifer. Absolutely. Isn't this easy? TikTok makes it so easy. Fortunately, at least right now. Hopefully Congress doesn't get rid of TikTok. Otherwise, it'll be ridiculous. Nikki Baby ask with a bunch of kisses in the heart. The bill passed in Texas. Dude, I gotta check on that. I know there was talk about it. I don't know if it passed. Did it? Man, there's so much crazy stuff in the world that I usually keep track of what's going on in Texas. Do I think people well, before I talk about it, I should probably just let sure. I think they had a hearing today. Oh, I see what you're talking about, Nikki. Yep. I see what you're talking about. Well, I see Houston Public Media has talked about the bill passed to add $1.5 billion for border wall construction. Okay, so I guess they're huge floaty things that had spikes on it, what could not work through because of lawsuit. So now they're just going to build the daggone wall. They're going to spend 1.5 billion, or yeah, 1.5 billion. Ah, that's ridiculous. What a waste of money. All that money can really go to really help a lot of people. Patient. That's funny. It's passed but not signed off yet. Okay. Well, someone's got to stop Governor Abbott from signing. No, I don't. I don't. I know a lot of people who have gone not through land to get here, so they're still away. Patience. I saw your comment that it seems like I'm answering pinned comments. Yeah, absolutely, I'm answering pinned comments because there's just so many questions. Thank you so much. But I found yours. It's funny your name's Patience. Your appreciate your patience. How do I approach the conversation? Okay, how do I approach the conversation of a green card as opposed to an H-1B with your employer? Um, I don't recommend that. I recommend both if you could. Are you currently working for them? Maybe through OPT or something? Because H-1B is coming around the corner, all right? In March registration, all right? So do you mind sharing your background? Are you in school right now or are you OPT? That'll give us some idea. But yeah, ultimately because the even if you want to get sponsored by a company in general, aside from the visa bulletin wait time, it takes on average 2 years. Okay, on average 2 years. That's not even talking about visa bulletin. So if you're in the US, then what are you going to do in the meantime with non-immigrant status, right? So that's why excuse me, you still need H-1B. Okay, folks. Thank you so much for your questions. I have to get going because my kid, I got to take care of my kid now and go back to my day job. All right. Wish y'all the best. Thank you so much. And yeah, stay tuned and see y'all tomorrow. Take care.